You're listening to The Bird Bath. Welcome back to The Bird Bath. Each week we scrape the surface of the news you need to know, so let's get into it. But before we do, ho ho ho, Merry Christmas. This is coming to you guys right on Christmas Eve, and hopefully you are out enjoying family and everything like that, and not just sitting here listening to me talk about vet med. But if you are, Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas Eve. And if you're listening to this in the future, I hope everything went well for you. But let's get into it. Kicking us off this week, Hill's Pet Nutrition. I had to start with a good story because you know what? It's that time of year. Hill's Pet Nutrition is launching a welcome home adoption campaign. They're committing up to $130,000 to help cover adoption costs and provide Hill's Science diets to adopters in January. They've partnered with the different participating Hill's Food, Shelter, and Love shelters nationwide, and they're offsetting some of those big adoption costs that people see. Data from Shelter Animal Count's 2024 mid-year analysis shows that the beginning of the year is a really critical time for animal shelters nationwide. Many of them end up being at capacity or over capacity. The report from last year, or I guess earlier this year, it's hard to remember what year we're even in right now, but it shows that there's fewer animals up for adoption, but that the animals that are there are staying in the shelters for longer periods of time, and it leads to a obviously increase of overall shelter population. So to attack that, Hills has partnered and set up a way to find 13 incredible shelters across the country, and they're covering up to $100 per dog or cat from January 1st to January 12th. So if you're listening to this and a puppy or a kitten was what you promised for Christmas to the kids, make sure to find one of the participating shelters. I'm going to make sure I link these and let the kids know the new puppy or new kitten is coming home, or senior dog even, make sure you do that. It's coming home January 1st to January 12th. Hills has stepped up to really do some incredible things. There's quite a few different shelters all over the country and in lots of major cities. So make sure to check out the show notes to be able to see where you can participate with Hills in the Welcome Home campaign. Now, I couldn't hit on only good news. I would love to, but unfortunately, there was some big news that came out last week. Governor Newsom out of California has declared a state of emergency to combat the bird flu outbreaks that they're seeing. It's spread to over a quarter of the state's dairies and has infected 34 residents of California. The H5N1 virus was first detected in California cows in August, and it's put a bunch of issues across their entire dairy industry. California is the largest dairy producing state in the US, and they've had 649 dairies reporting infections. The first severe case, though, for humans just was reported in Louisiana. So it's kind of a big story. It's one that we've been talking about, bird flu, for all of 2024. It's happening across Europe. We saw it come to the US, but the number of people and now seeing the major impact both on animal health as well as the dairy industry has caused a big issue. So the human cases have been linked some to agricultural workers, but the one fatal case in Louisiana actually came from a backyard poultry situation where it was suspected that the person was handling either sick or dead birds in their back home flock. So please be sure to be careful, everyone. There's obviously a lot that we learned from COVID about zoonotic diseases and the difficulty of keeping these things under control, but there's always more to learn. We hit on it actually last week in the story talking about VCA and Antech's One Health initiative and how you can help to make sure that you can reduce the spread of these different zoonotic diseases and how they can impact people. So make sure to stay safe. Make sure to cover yourself up, mask up, wash hands, do everything that's recommended to make sure that everybody can stay safe from any outbreaks of bird flu. But you know I couldn't leave you with a bird flu story to end it because this is the Bird Bath and that's one of our least favorite of the flus. We have some incredible news for any of the children. And I know I have obviously dozens, hundreds of thousands of children that must listen to this episode every single week. But for the parents out there too, big news out of the North Pole. Officials have confirmed that Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, and the rest of Santa's reindeer have been approved for their Christmas Eve flight following a health checkup from Santa's veterinarians. The AVMA sent two incredible people, Dr. Sandra Fay, the president of the AVMA, and veterinary technician Jamie Rauscher, president of NAVDA, up to the North Pole to make sure that the animals were ready for their big global flight. They ended up getting a very healthy, clear check to know that they're good to fly. So for anybody that was concerned about Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, or everyone's favorite reindeer, Rudolph, who we still have not found the root cause of the glowing nose. Scientists are still digging into that one, but they are going to be hitting the skies and bringing all of the good boys and girls toys across the world. So be sure to look up, and if you're a veterinarian, leave them out a couple carrots, leave the big guy some cookies, maybe some milk, and be sure to have an incredible holiday. I cannot wait for what 2025 has. We obviously have one more episode this year where we're going to run down our top stories throughout the year, the stories that you all listen to over and over and over again, and the ones that you shared. So be sure to join us on a very special episode on New Year's Eve. And for more on these and other stories and some more serious stories, be sure to subscribe to our Substack. There's a link in the bio. And don't miss out on any episodes by subscribing and rating the show. For the Bird Bath, Merry Christmas. I'm Ryan Leach. See you next week.